The One Micronesia Podcast is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hafaday, Mogathin, and Rananim. And welcome back to another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. And in this episode, I am excited because I get to sit down and go one-on-one and find out how she's going, how things in life is going for her. I'm here with world traveler, blogger, influencer, and most importantly, she's my best friend and my classmates from high school. Maymay Phillip is in the building for another episode. Maymay, I just got to say thank you so much for taking the time and to being with us here on the show.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation and for this platform that you create for young Micronesians. This is important.
So, Maymay, for those who don't know, and I'm pretty sure you have so many followers, and for not most of them, they don't really know you. They just know what you have done for the past couple, I don't know how many years. But tell us more about you. For those who don't know, tell us more about you.
So I'm Maymay. I am from Chuuk. I'm from the Navarias region. But I have lineage also in the Mortlux region. For those who know, you already know. I grew up in Chuuk all my life. And like Vic said, I'm a traveler, an aspiring traveler, I would like to clarify. Also an aspiring blogger, because I love to write. And I'm also a cake artist. I think a lot of people who know me in my traveling world, they don't really know that I'm also a cake artist. I don't know if I should get into my professional life or I should wait for the next question, but that's me.
Hey, take it away. So let's go into that life. I mean, after high school, let's talk about, where it led you after high school, after Chuuk.
Yeah, so like I've mentioned earlier, I am like a Chuuk product. So I was raised in Chuuk. I lived in Chuuk basically all my life. But after high school, I moved to the United States where I tried to become an adult. Actually, that's where I became an adult. So I went to college there, and also that's where I started to build my career. My professional career started as a translator. So I was a Chuukese translator and interpreter. In Oregon is my home base. So there is a very large Micronesian and Chuukese community out there. So that's where I kind of explored first, and then I eventually went into becoming a community health worker. And currently I am a nutrition specialist for a program that focuses on healthy lifestyle in the Pacific Island community. So that's where I'm kind of currently at, and I'm loving it. And like I mentioned on the site, I'm a cake artist, and I'm pretty serious about that too. So I always like to bring it up once in a while. But yeah, that's me. And that's what I do.
Wow. We'll definitely add cake artists to that list of, of many hats that you wear. And wow, the social work, that part of, or the health work that you do out there, especially for people. And it's amazing to see. I want to ask one thing. I know I didn't put it in the questionnaires. How have you seen the change in how Pacific Islanders live out in the States when it comes to the food choices? And because I know it's changed, like, stuff like that.
Yeah, I love this question, and I'm glad that you added this question. When I was a community health worker, I worked mostly with elderly community members. And my job was mainly to focus on those who are battling chronic illnesses. And one of my main things with them was planning their meal plans and lifestyle, right? That would support their healing process in the chronic illnesses that they have. And I started to notice that most of the chronic illnesses that our community members are facing or are battling, they stem from the choice of food that we intake. And it's not our local food. It's not our indigenous food. it's the food that was introduced to us after World War II. And I sometimes it was a really depressing job at the same time, even though I really enjoyed it, because I realized how, like, as for us, those who were born after that time, most of us, we basically have no choice, because when we grew up, we were already introduced to rice as babies. I mean, like in Chuuk, you go to school with the lunchbox with rice and 2 hot dogs in your lunchbox, right? I don't know about other like islands, but literally that's the most common school lunch in Chuuk. Your parents will send you off with a lunchbox with rice and hot dog, or chicken sometimes. But like, do we even know what's in the hot dog? No. So I don't know. I just feel like my job has really opened up my eyes on like the type of, to be more wise in choosing what I eat, and but also at the same time spreading it to not just my family but also my community. So I think that's why I chose to really go into like the nutrition part of my job. I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh, it did. It did. Totally. It did. I mean, you talk about lifestyle changes, and we see, and that's so crazy because just nowadays, the last couple, let's say 2-3 years, we've seen so many young islanders hit the gym. Back then, everybody, gym was just for people who could afford it, but nowadays you see so many young Pacific Islanders go to the gym now. They change their lifestyles. You talk about the food they eat. Now everybody's eating clean, eating following a certain diet, so things have changed. And yes, we talk about the food that we were given after World War II, and we grew up eating that food. Rice, you talk about rice, hot dog, tuna, mackerel, all these imported processed food. Yeah. And then we never knew what was in it. It was just, we ate it because it was food, and we can't complain because that's what was on the table. And if you don't eat it, well, then you're going to go hungry. So
it was also easily accessible
there too.
And the lifestyle had changed. Mm-hmm. So fishing was not part of our everyday life anymore. So, we can't really blame our parents because they didn't choose that life, mm-hmm. right? Or they didn't say, okay, I'm going to stop fishing now so I can just feed my kids canned meat. No, it was like this whole paradigm shift in our culture contributed to that, But yeah, I'm really proud of the young generations who are up and coming, but also not just the young generations, but the people now who are taking control of their health.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're definitely going to get into the more see the world. Maymay, we're going to come back and talk to her about her world traveling and her travel blog, which is it's such an amazing thing to learn about. So when we come back, we'll definitely get to that. You're watching the One Micronesia Podcast, being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. It's better together.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
Hafide, Mogathin, and Rananim, and we're back. We're still here with world traveler, blogger, influencer, and cake maker. I had to add that one in because she wants that one in because she is. If you've never seen a picture of her cakes, you got to go check it out. One of these days, she's going to probably be on Cake Boss. Is that the show? Really, but yes, we're back to talk about her. One of the things that people love about her and why they follow her and her journey, her traveling scuttle, the blog, the traveling. So tell us more about how that started. When did you decide, hey, I'm gonna pack my bags and I'm going to start traveling? How did that happen?
So how did I start traveling? I actually, before traveling Scado became a thing, I was doing some light traveling before that. And my inspirations to get up and get out into the world are my two sisters. Most people also know my sisters. One is Jess, who is doing amazing work in Chuuk. She's also a traveler. She goes by Jess Ventures. And she's a very fearless Micronesian. And that girl, she's not scared of anything, and she doesn't give, anything of what anybody says. She'll go out there and go on an adventure. So she inspired me to just get out and go, because I was also very nervous to just go out there, right? And then I also have another sister named Nelly, who also is a traveler. She's more low-key among the bunch, but she went to India at 17 was she 17? I think she was 17. And she lived in India for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, like if you go to India at like, you're not even an adult yet and live there and you really enjoyed the culture, like, and the experience, I also need to go out there. Right. So yeah, she just left. And then when she came back, she just had this whole different like glow, but also this different perspective on life. Like she just grew up. She was already wise, like she's the wisest among us all, but she just grew up and she just had this like really like perspective on life that was so positive, that just inspired me to go out there. So that's how I started traveling. As far as traveling Scato, there is a Polynesian girl who inspired me to take my culture with me. And her name is Valerie Rickers. She's a YouTuber and she is also on Instagram. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know her. She's she's very popular. But she went around Europe. She did a tour in Europe and she just went to all these different sites and did the Tawalunga, which is the Samoan cultural dance, right? She doesn't care who was around. She doesn't care what was happening around her. She just popped down and did just showed her culture right then and there. And to me, that was so inspiring. And so I would always put it at the back of my mind, like, okay, so when I go like somewhere really big, I gotta make sure I bring my Chuukese or my Micronesian with me, right? But I didn't really plan it was gonna be a skirt. But then I went on this random trip to Europe. It was so random. My friend was going to Europe and she just invited me. And so I went, and one of my stops was Paris.
Wow.
And a lot of people know where Paris is, right? Like everybody knows where Paris is. And I was like, okay, so I need to take a picture at the Eiffel Tower so I can send it to my family. But what am I going to wear? I was trying to plan an outfit. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just bring my skirt. I'm just going to bring my rostu and then I'm going to wear it. I will bring my scatter and wear it. And then that's it. So I brought it there and then I wore it there and I took the picture. And then I think I sent it to my mom and then I posted on social media. And I had no idea I was going to blow up. That's before I even became the traveling scato. But that was the beginning of it. It was Paris. It was the Eiffel Tower and the scato that just went viral.
So that's awesome. So, you talk about traveling. When we first move somewhere, I think to us, that's the travel, right? You move somewhere, you find a job and you stay and you get settled in and you build your family, right? So seeing you do something like this is also an eye opener to many people. It's like, hey, you don't really have to stay in one place. That's the very Micronesian Islander way. Like we got to go to this city, settle down, build a family, grow, and you can actually move or go travel. I think not a lot of Micronesians have done that, and people do it for conferences. Yeah, well, that's amazing. But then when you do it to learn about the other cultures, to be places where you haven't been, I think that's very cool. And I think that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on here, because you've inspired many people, also me, because I've been on Guam for almost 10 years and haven't really traveled. So that to me is like, hey, if Maymay can do it, you probably can do it too.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, because I mean, we know our community, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did get a lot of negative like comments from the older generations. I mean, even some of the younger, but no, actually, I mostly get really positive comments from the younger generation. But it's funny that you pointed that out, because a lot of people there was like a few people who were saying like, are you traveling for work? Because like, why are you having too much fun on this work trip? Like, or what do you do for the FSM government that you're like, what do you do for the FSM government that you're doing this? But literally, like, I just want to say, like, you don't have to go somewhere for work. You don't have to go somewhere for school. You can just get up and go and just enjoy your life somewhere if you want to, as a Micronesian, like, stop living in the box,
Wow. I like that. Wow. That's so let's talk about, the traveling happened, and then so the traveling, Scott, the blog. Tell us more about what is that? Or what can, if somebody hasn't read the blog yet, what's a little hype, or what's a little teaser into getting people to go read the blog?
Okay. Thank you for bringing light to that. So the blog is actually a combination of traveling stories from me and my other sisters who also travel. And so the thing is, the blog is kind of on the pandemic schedule, because we were very hyped about it in the beginning, but then this whole pandemic happened and we did not go anywhere when the pandemic started. But that's where we basically share our travel stories, because we do a lot of sharing amongst each other anyway. And we decided maybe if we put our fun stories out there, it'll inspire other Micronesians to go out there, but not just fun stories, but also tips and like, especially as FSM passport holders, there are a lot of fear that, you may not be able to travel because you're holding a FSM passport, or, people are not familiar with your immigration status. And those things are real, and they're very, they're real, and you need to be careful of those, but that should not stop you from going out there. So those are the things that we kind of want to put on the blog, so that other young, or not just young, but also older Micronesian folks who want to travel can read about it and learn from. But yeah.
So wait, speaking of learning, what are some things that you've learned from traveling to these amazing destinations?
There's so many things. I've learned more things traveling than I did in my how many years of schooling.
Right? I was going to say.
Yeah, but there are just so many things that you get to learn, especially about people and culture, right? So for example, before I traveled to Mexico was my first trip. Before I traveled there, my whole idea of Mexico was crime, kidnapping, and, whatever, all the bad things. But then I was like, no, like there are indigenous people there, and there are some really cool, like, things that were started there by indigenous people that, the modern world adopted. So that's what drew me to Mexico. It was the one of the seven wonders of the world, Chichen Itza.
Wow.
It's the pyramid in Yucatan. So I wanted to go there. And when I showed up there, it was nothing like I had imagined before. I mean, there are so many cool things there. There, I learned that how many years ago there was this meteor shower that hit Mexico. Not Mexico, but just that part of Mexico, Yucatan, which created these like underwater pools that you won't find anywhere else in the world. And
Wow.
They're called cenotes. Yeah. So they used to be like really sacred to the indigenous people, but now people can go there and swim and get the experience, right? But if I didn't go there, I because I didn't learn that when I was in school. So if I hadn't gone there, I wouldn't learn that at all.
So we'll be back to talk to Maymay about what's next for her. You're watching the One Micronesia podcast. We brought to you by Docomo Pacific. It's better together.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
Hafaday, Mogathin, and Rananim, and we're back. We're almost there. But wow, what a story! What a story to find out that hey, you can literally get up and go somewhere and visit destinations and have a good time. It doesn't always have to be that same island way, that routine, that wake up in the morning, go to work, drop the kids, get back home, do dinner, and then wake up the next morning, same thing. You can always switch up the routine. And that's what Maymay is here to do, is to kind of really open your eyes and like, hey, you can travel too. And it means sometimes it gets down to the funds, because that's what's everybody's excuse is. You ask somebody to travel, they're like, oh, sorry, we didn't save up. But maybe if that's what you want to do, it'll make you save up. It'll make you find ways to get money to travel. There's even when traveling, you can make money as you're a traveler. And, travelers know that. Non-travelers, we don't, because we don't ask that question. So we're here with Maymay. So before we get to the question of what's next for you, sis, I want to ask, and just so for the record, for the people out there, tell me, like you just told me a while ago, and you made me count all my fingers off, how many countries have you visited, or how many destinations have you visited that you can still recall? Because I know you've been to more than what you just told me, but what you can recall.
So I have gone to, if my math is right, I think I've been to 12 countries.
Wow. So Maymay, I got to ask the question, what's next for you? We talked about how COVID kind of hindered and your process of traveling around the world for what you do. So what's next for Maymay and for Traveling Scotto and stuff like that? As
far as the Traveling Scotto, I'm trying to relocate to a new place that will give me more access to travel, right? That's what's next for the Traveling Scotto. As for me, well, I'm one with the Traveling Scotto, so that's what I'm going to be doing. But I just want to point out that I'm currently in beautiful Saipan, and my trip is being extended for, some personal reasons, but I'm really enjoying Saipan too right now.
I'm glad you're back. Glad you're back on the islands.
I'm back in Micronesian water, and I'm just so happy about it. Even though I can't go to Chuuk.
Oh, I know you're not the only one. Well, hopefully, we get things settled, squared away, and the borders can open, so we can all just go back home and visit family. It's been a year and a half, or a year and more. So I know everybody out there is itching to just go back home. I think this is one of those times where they say you don't really miss it until you haven't you've lost it, or you haven't seen it for a long time. So I really want to go back home.
That is a statement that I can absolutely agree to, because there are so many things that I did not care about, or not care about. I did not appreciate until I was far away from home for all these times. And for example, sand, ocean, food, you name it.
Oh, but at least you're somewhere close to what home feels like. So, I mean, Saipan, it's still, I'm pretty sure it still feels
I have
a little
family
close.
Here, so, and my best friend is here. So this is also home for me.
That's awesome.
I would say. Yeah.
So before we close this part off, name at least four places that you have on your list that you're aiming to tackle and visit.
Next
4 or next 3. Let's keep
three?
it 3. Yeah, keep it simple.
Okay. So it's Amman, Jordan.
Wow.
Which is where if you've seen the Indiana Jones movies, that made me want to go there. But then I actually did more research on it. So now I really want to go there. And then Egypt.
Wow.
And there's a tie between India and Thailand, but I think I'm leaning more towards Thailand first.
Wow. That's amazing.
But yeah, most likely I think my next trip is going to be Egypt though, like very soon. So fingers crossed.
Hey, like I said, we're all going to be following you on your journey, and like you keep inspiring us. And one day I will get off this chair and I will travel. That's a promise that I can keep, that I will make. And
you better keep that promise.
That's one promise. One day I will get off this chair and put my headphones on this mic in here and then just travel one day, minus today. So
I'm proud of you for making that decision already.
I know I have to. So maybe we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's all the messaging, the social media. Where can people follow you? That's to close out. We'll be back with more of the One Micronesia podcast.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
Hafide, Mogatin, and Rananim. And we're back with the last part of it, where we hear the last and final message. And also we find out where we can go follow Maymay and her journey. We've heard about where she's been. Now we can see that on her Instagram. And then now we know the 3 places that we can expect to see on her Instagram coming up. So she'll tell us where we can follow her for that. But first, Maymay, a message to the young Micronesians who are watching right now. And hopefully they felt inspired to get up and travel. What message do you have for them?
So I know I always say get up and go out there, right? I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yes.
But also, you really gotta do your research, but also like get your life together, right? Because that's not gonna happen. Like your dreams and goals are not gonna be attainable unless you make them attainable. So that's my message to my Micronesian folks out there. But yeah, it's, to be honest, like if you really want to do something, the universe is almost always ready to help you make it happen. So yeah, good luck to everybody who's trying to travel. There's another thing that I wanted to add though. It's semi-related to traveling because I feel like the more I travel, the more I'm on this self-discovery journey to learn about myself and my own culture. And that's also what I do on my Instagram, right? I share about the Chuukese culture or Micronesian culture. And I just want to say that if you're also on that self-discovery journey, I feel like, this is just an opinion, I might be wrong, but I feel like the more you travel, the more you know about yourself too, right? Or the more you do in life, the more you learn about yourself too. So if you're trying to be on that self-discovery journey, keep going. I'm cheering for you and I'm proud of how far you've come.
Amen. All right, Maymay, social media, where can people go find you? Where can people go read the blog? Where can people can follow your journey?
So my personal Instagram, where I post most of my travel journeys is Chuukese Goddess. I created it a long time ago and I cannot change the username anymore because now a lot of people have identified me by that already. So that's my personal Instagram. But for the blog Instagram, it's Traveling Scado Blog. It's more formal because we try to keep it formal because I run it with other people. One thing though that I'd like to point out on the Traveling Scado blog, there is a thing that we do in collaboration with Micronesian Viral, and it's called the Micronesian Dialogue. And if you're Micronesian and you want to get into it and chop it up with other Micronesian folks who are passionate about, Micronesian issues, we host the dialogue. I wanted to say every month, but we haven't been doing it because we've been traveling. But there will be one coming up soon. And we try to do it every other month or so. But yeah, I just wanted to say that out there too. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And then the blog is travelingscato.com.
Wow. That's amazing. All right, Maymay, man, the talk has been fun. It's catching up. It was inspiring. All of the above. Thank you so much for the time. And people out there, go follow Maymay and follow her journey. And if you have the same passion, go do it. All right. So guys, thank you so much for watching, Maymay. Kiso for coming on the show. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You also inspire me. So.
Oh, thank you. Likewise. All right. That pretty much concludes another episode. You're watching the One Micronesia Podcast being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. It is better together.
The One Micronesia Podcast is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.